Reddit, what's the worst thing you ever found out from a game of truth or dare? That if a room full of girls asks how big your dong is, you're pretty stupid to not take the invitation. I was pretty stupid. As a grower, I would not accept the invitation. I found out that my younger brother was willing to do anything to impress my friends. He was a freshman while I was a junior. The dare that confirmed that was when he had to plop his balls onto a friend's head. He was dubbed Potato Sack after that. Bizarrely, the first thought that popped into my head when I read this was AWW, sweet, you should take your brother's ball exposure as a compliment. He was looking up to you. That I was the other woman, not in truth or dare, but a game of never have I ever. The question was about whether or not you've ever been involved in an affair. I said I hadn't, and my boyfriend at the time announced in front of everyone, yeah, you have. 2 years ago when we broke up and got back together while I was with Carolyn, that was news to me. I remember her calling him a lot 4 weeks after we got back together, but he never answered and called her psycho. Ugh. I wasn't the other woman, but my ex had 2 long-term relationships behind my back. The one that lasted 2 years was with a woman who knew about me, but the one that lasted 6 months was with a girl who thought we were just friends or that I was having long-term trouble letting go. Some people are awful. That I could scratch a mate's balls over the jeans with a completely straight face while everyone else looked super uncomfortable. If you don't want to see it, don't dare someone to do it. That's easy. We played it at a family gathering once. It was my mom's turn, and being elderly she opted for a truth for fear of her dare being physically rigorous. I laughed and said, okay, tell us a truth. She responded, you were a late-term abortion that survived. We don't play truth or dare at family gatherings anymore. I overheard my mom telling someone that when she was pregnant with me she'd do crap like moving the refrigerator around the kitchen to try and have a miscarriage. That my friend's father would upside down titty frick me like a bee if he ever found out who I was. The dare was to prank call my friend's stepdad. Funniest one so far. This game almost always ends in a confession that makes everyone uncomfortable. I'd suggest never playing this game with loaded questions. A very good friend of mine confessed he didn't think his dad was his natural father. This goes back to being teenagers and being drunk when playing. Well, everyone kinda clicked when he said it. He had a oval shaped head, skinny guy with blonde hair. His dad and younger brother were stocky and had a round face and freckles. It was obvious. Just something you don't think about being 16-17. He went on talking about how his dad never really accepted him, and how he did things for his dad over the years to make him worthy in his eyes, but never got treated the same as his younger brother. Was really sad. I guess at some point people need to get crap off their chest, but this game starts as fun and normally doesn't end well. When the girl I had been dating for over a month, when asked the last time she had sex, responded, a week and a half. Her and I hadn't slept together yet. Exact same thing happened to me, but we were dating for 2 months. She had sex the previous night I went over dart. I felt dirty being in her room. You guys should learn Paranoia, a drinking game. You sit in a circle and it starts with someone whispering a question to the person to their left. Alright, whatever. The question should basically require the answerer to pick someone in the room as the answer, such as who in the room is most likely to become a success, who in the room would make the worst parent, or who in the room would you sleep with if you had to, etc. They give their answer to the group. Whoever got named as the answer has to drink to hear what the question was. If they don't, everyone else can drink to find out the question. Basically it always ends up with someone outraged, upset that someone would give their name as the answer to something negative. It's fun. That my obese roommate had a Prince Albert piercing. Yep, he showed us, and he had to pull back a few rolls for us to see it. Well, I found out from a game of truth or dare a girl I truly had no romantic interest in was super into me. The air of expectation after that came out for me to do something or make a move was very disturbing for me. In the end, I didn't do anything. Her friends asked what was up, and I told them the truth and I broke her heart. I felt bad, but crap. Or, dude, during a game of never have I ever I found out my boyfriend, at the time, had let a dog lick his genitals on more than one occasion. Until now, I had suppressed that memory. Never have I ever let a dog lick my genitals. Boyfriend, crap. It was during a drunken game of kings, and my girlfriend at the time revealed that she masturbated to the thought of my best friend fricking her frequently. I overheard it while learning her favorite song on guitar in my bedroom. I was pretty wasted, so it was taking a while to figure out the chords, but once I heard that crap I locked my door and drank myself to sleep. Girl takes the truth portion motherfucking seriously. A friend of mine was playing with some friends. I was there but not participating, and we found out her boyfriend at the time had been in a threesome. The people involved, him, his dad and his mom's best friend. Father-son bondage time. Worst thing I revealed is that I once masturbated to the sex scene in Team America, World Police, and now you all know. On a summer abroad trip in college, we played a game of kings one night. The weird girl drew whatever card indicated truth, and it was my turn to ask, at what age did you lose your virginity? 6. The game was over. I found out one of my cousins used to watch and pet me in my sleep, dreaming for some kind of eventual romantic relationship. On top of all this, there were a number of creepy little things she liked to do as I slumbered blissfully away. The worst part is, after someone jokingly mentioned the idea of cousins having a relationship in Japan being a socially acceptable thing, she legitimately asked, "Will you move to Japan with me? Le cousins dangereux." If this thread is any indication of the crap people will disclose in a game of truth or dare, law enforcement could easily replace all of their interrogation techniques with it. Haven't actually learned anything bad from truth or dare, so I'll share best. Hottest girl we were playing with got dare to kiss the hottest guy playing, and she kissed me. Major confidence boost for a high school kid with self-image problems. Heck yeah. I've run Toddle.com, Truth or Dare Online, for about 10 years now, so I've been indirectly horrified by thousands of terrible things from all of you. Seriously, though, there are lots of really dark things that people like to admit: betrayal, abuse, regret, crimes, and worse. I've posted this before, but I think many of us are just looking for an outlet for our secrets, and Truth or Dare provides a socially acceptable conduit, and people are pretty freaky given the chance. You should totally do an AMA sometime. Late to the game, but the guy I was interested in admitted he forced his little brother to suck his dong, 13 and 8 respectively, and that he enjoyed it. I changed my mind about him very quickly. That's a heck of a thing to admit in a game of truth or dare. My best friend was gay. It was a surprise at first, but in the end, we actually became closer friends. That my shy and studious best friend of the time had been involved in performance sex sessions during which she was triple penetrated whilst dressed as a French maid. Yep. That I was the only person in the room who had any actual loyalty to their girlfriend and hadn't slept around while with her. Okay, so I started dating this girl in the summer. When fall came around, she had to go back to college in the next state over. I drove up to her every weekend to see her for the weekend. 3+ hour drive each way, but one weekend night, we are getting drunk. Her roommates and some other friends she wanted to introduce me to, all girls. They decide they want to play truth or dare. I'm thinking this is a situation that is going to lead to me being the mayor of Awesome City. Unfortunately, that would not happen. The game goes around and around for a while and everything is starting to heat up. They go from asking each other to do things that are funny, to a little over the top, and then down to things that are sexual. Right in the warm-up phase of the latter topic, someone asks my then GF, "What's your number? How many guys?" and she instinctually replies without hesitation, 26. My mouth goes from a smile from having a great time and liking where the game is going, to completely slack-jawed. She had told me I was number 3. I didn't even need to do anything other than genuinely react, because every girl in the room looked at my face after she laughed and answered the question and saw and knew they had been a lie exposed. A girl lie. A lie that almost never sees the light of day, but it was there for all to have a Schordengasm over. Upvote for Schordengasm. I almost got to have a threesome whilst playing Truth or Dare, but passed out. It was New Year's 2001. Had 2 girls making out with me and each other on my bed in a hotel room during a game of Todd. Next thing I know, I am waking up. I was so crushed that I passed out. They both confirmed it would have happened. Still haven't gotten another chance since then. I guess I found out that sometimes getting super drunk should not be top priority. I found that out, but still haven't learned. Yeah, it might have happened too, if I didn't knock that glass of wine on my expensive rug. One of my best friends frequently masturbated to my girlfriend whilst me and her were together. He was my bro so I took it lightly. He was my bro so I took it lightly. This is my favorite comment today. For some reason it really made me chuckle. My time to shine. I found out the girl I just started dating had been in a foursome with some 40-year-olds, and she was 20 years old at the time. I thought that it was pretty intense and this girl is far more experienced than I had previously been led to believe. It wasn't a deal breaker, but it was shocking because I assumed she was rather innocent. The innocent ones are always the worst. Not quite truth or dare, but I remember a game of never have I ever premise. Someone says never have I ever. This, anyone who has done this takes a drink. We played slightly differently, where the caller could say something that they haven't done before. Anyway, a friend and I were playing with a group of other people once. A few months later, her and I were hanging out together, just the two of us, and we continued the game by ourselves. She was being extra flirtatious and she looked good. She started asking some of the dirtier stuff, particular sex moves. So, I did what had to be done. Never have I ever had sex in a restaurant bathroom. Neither of us took a drink. I smiled and said, on that note, I'll be right back, and headed down to the washroom. Well, wouldn't you know it, as I'm about to head in, she runs down, grabs me by the shirt and pulls me in the ladies' room. A good time was had by all. Well, except the poor old lady who was in the stall next to us. But that's a different story. Someone else told me why my parents really got divorced. I was asked when I picked truth, and I told everyone the reason I was given. And some little B said, that's not the real reason, and proceeded to embarrass me in front of 10 other bitchy girls. Fun night. Not truth or dare, but I never. It was during a game of King's Cup, so we would have everyone hold up 5 fingers and put one down for each thing they had done. The first person to put all 5 fingers down has to drink. It was pretty far in the game, so people were getting bored and wanted to end it and used things to get people out easier. A girl said something along the lines of, I've never had sex with a girl, and all the boys put down a finger. Then one of the guys said, I've never sucked a dong, and all the girls put a finger down. At that moment, I saw my then boyfriend sneak his hand under the table and put a finger down. Needless to say, we had a little talk about his sexuality that night. The drunken admission that I'd fooled around with a guy when I was 16 led to my ostracism from my new rugby team, and general humiliation for my first year of university. Bunch of C. Late night in pool after bar hopping at mom's place. Mother, her BF and their friends decide to play truth or dare. I overheard way too much about my mother's sexual experiences than I ever wanted. There's already so many comments, but I have to share mine. I was in 5th grade and half my classmates were playing truth or dare during recess near the jungle gym. I wasn't even playing truth or dare, but my 2 best friends were. I sat down on one of the platforms of the jungle gym to relax in the sun, and I overheard a lot of the truths being asked and giggled along. Apparently, they thought I was out of earshot when my best friends dared a boy to go ask me out. He said, no, she's ugly. My friend replied, I know, but you have to. Haha. So the guy walks over to me, head down, big frown, and asks me if I want to go out with him. We're both 10 years old. How is dating even a thing? I look at him and ponder for a moment because I was pretty devastated, and I guess I wanted to see him get more uncomfortable, and said number. He ran back happily and they all made fun of him for being turned down by the ugliest girl in school. I finished elementary school with no friends because I realized they thought I was disgusting. And that's the worst thing I found out from a game of truth or dare. 18 years later and it still stings. Fortunately, that friend of mine who asked the dare turned into a gigantic fat ass. The kind you see in Walmart wearing a strapless dress that barely covers their vagina. So, everything worked out. That I am the most boring person to play this game with ever. Not because I won't do dares, but I have lived a sparkling, clean, uncomplicated life. that licking syrup out of my crush's belly button makes her cry, and her boyfriend console her with his penis in the next room. That the worst sexual experience of the girl I was seeing at the time ever had was puking while sucking my friend's dong. Then they started laughing and were all like, actually, it was pretty good still. She grinned at me while saying that. I was real into that girl, still am, and it put quite the damper on my night. Not my story, but my friend was playing Truth or Dare with a group of friends right after college graduation. In the group was this very obnoxious girl. Apparently the question came up if you could sleep with anyone who wasn't your boyfriend, who is also in the room and playing the game. Who would it be? And she became thoughtful before answering. Evan. Evan, who is this kid she barely knew, had died a year before. He was in their grade, and some of his close friends, including my friend, were in the room also playing. Apparently it got awkwardly silent, since she had basically just used the name of a dead student friend for attention. Pretty disrespectful. There were some other things that made this girl obnoxious. Like I think she said something along the lines of I always lose at this when playing, never have I ever, implying that she was sexually adventurous, and yet claimed to never master bait. I learned that the people I was playing with thought I was gross. I know this because I was involved in just about all the dares. I dare you to kiss Hellspark08 on the cheek. Oh man. Banned bus memories. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.